Hi, welcome back everybody. It's Mike Newton down here at Lytham Golf Academy. We've got a new product to review for you in this video, and it's the Ping G410 LST Driver. So we saw beginning of 2019 launch of G410. LST wasn't in that initial launch. It's been a little bit delayed. We're going to talk a little bit about that in the video, but it has now arrived. So we're going to test it. We're going to review it for you, give you some guys ideas how this performs. We've got GC Quad on the floor as always. We'll give you some numbers and data plus my personal feedback of this particular driver. Okay, so LST in the G410. So as we've seen in previous G models, we see an LST which stands for low spin technology. So typically at golf would be suited to this is somebody's a little bit more speed, or maybe just trying to get that spin number down a little bit more and get a little bit more control of that ball flight. So there's a couple of different differences from this against the standard G410, which we're going to talk a little bit about through this video, but let's get cracking and hit this straight away. I'm quite interested to see how this performs because I currently play the G400 LST, so very interested to see how this stacks up against that, and that might be a separate comparison video to see whether this actually replaces my G400 in the back. Let's get this first one hit. Again, great behind the ball, that very sort of classic, what you see in that ping with the turbulators there, nice sort of shaping of this club head. Okay, so not a bad opening shot. They're just peeling up that left side a little bit, slightly overdrawn, but not a bad start there. 305, a little bit higher up in that face there, so I know that spin will have pulled off quite a bit on that particular shot. But yeah, good feeling club start with, good feeling sound. So a good feel off the club face. Sound is typically a ping sound you would sort of tend to sort of hear really. So LST head is a different size head compared to the standard G410. It's a 450cc, a little bit more of a pear shape there, fractionally smaller than the standard G410, which is nice and obviously sits as an LST. Better players, generally a better players club sits now very sort of square, if not fractionally open. So for that player who doesn't want to see the left side of the golf course, then this would typically suit that player a little bit more. Oh, that's a good solid hit, is that? Really neutral in that flight. Felt a really good connection, slightly higher centre, so that's going to pull a bit of spin. There we go, so 310. So straight away, I've not looked at any numbers as yet, but straight away I know this is going to be probably under that 2000 spin for me, because I know when I get into that 310 area, and the flight that I sort of see, it's quite sort of flat, penetrating. It's not low, but it's just very much going forward. I know the spin will probably be under that 2000 mark. So I've got this with the Ping Tour 65 shaft in an X-Flex mid-size grip, which is my sort of spec. The Tour 65 is a little bit more, again, that low spin, slightly better for that slightly stronger player. Ooh, right, that's a little bit of a toe one. That's going up the left-hand side, but not massively. But again, I know that's going to dip a lot of spin off there because I've hit that high toe section. 302, I thought I might get a bit more out of that considering the strike there, but again, it's pretty accurate there, which is good. So why did LST not launch with the rest of the G410 woods? Interesting comment, and I think a lot of guys have been anticipating this launch. Is it going to come? Is it not going to come? There's lots of different sort of rumours out there. And what Ping are saying is when G410 was launched, the original woods, the LST wasn't performing better at that stage than the G400 LST. So Ping didn't want to launch a product that isn't improved on what they already had out there in G400. So they've delayed it. They've gone back to the drawing board a little bit, done some tweaks, and now they are saying this is performing better than G400, so it's warranting them to release the golf club. And I think that's fantastic. And a massive respect to Ping for doing that. It's so easy to launch a family of products, isn't it? And you know, if we're going to launch one, we'll launch them all. Massive big launch and away we go. But they've held this back because they wanted to get it definitely performing better than G400 ST to make it a warrant of somebody maybe upgrading or just outperforming the last model. So massive hats off and respect to Ping as a brand and a company ethos of actually doing that. I think that's superb. That's a nice hit. A little bit higher on that ball flat. Again, that's a little bit higher up the club face, which I know is a good area for me to hit it. Again, these are sailing over that 300 mark. Get some good Good numbers out of this so far in terms of distance, and the accuracy is pretty much in there as well. Now, I'm a big fan of my G410 LST, really enjoy it. Love the look of it, I love the way it sort of works, and to be honest, I'll probably say it isn't the longest driver I've ever used, but I feel massively comfortable with it and I like the flight that I get, and this is giving me a very similar sort of flight, probably a little bit more yards to be honest on average. Again, we'll look at the numbers a little bit more detail. Okay, that's a little bit off the bottom of the club face. Interesting to see if that drops off. No, it hasn't. 308, wow, that was definitely felt low in the club face to me, which I know then my spin gets up, I tend to hit that, take a bit of a drop off. Again, it's nice and accurate there. I'm liking the way this is performing. So what's happening in this in terms of what's different this against the standard G410 we've seen out there? There's a lot of same technology. Obviously, we've got the Dragonfly, which is now underneath the sort of it's covered up now. So we've got Dragonfly, which is redistributing weight around the club face. We've got turbulators, as we've always seen, helping a little bit of that aerodynamics. We've got the forged face here, which is allowing us to get a little bit quicker ball speed across the club face. Again, we've seen that in the standard G410 head. We've got the movable weight on the back, which is moving CG by 1/10 of an inch in the head as you move it into that fade and draw and that neutral sort of setting. I've got this set as neutral at the moment, and it's a 16 gram weight, so you've got quite a bit of adjustability there. See some great results through our fittings at the Academy. I've got neck sleeve, which can go up and down by 1.5 degrees in loft, but also that flat lie setting, which again, in this LST head, for any golfer who doesn't want to see the left side of the golf course, the way this sits hasn't been a little bit square, and also that flat lie setting is a fantastic option, and we've done a lot of really good fits for anybody who sort of overdraws it, hooks it, put into that flat lie setting. We've seen some amazing results in terms of dispersion improvements. But obviously the biggest difference here is the head size at 450cc, and also that CG inside the head now is pushed a little bit more forward to again help to create that little bit less spin. So Ping is saying roughly around that 200 to 400 revolutions per minute spin, as in being lower than the standard G410. Again, we know strike can override that for a lot of golfers. That's a lovely flight. Really enjoy hitting that. Sound of it, the feel of it is really good. And again, that's flying over that 300 mark. This is, yeah, this is working. Again, really accurate on that shot. I'm just going to hit one more. Oh yeah, lovely. Again, that's high up in that club face. It seems to be sailing forever through that air. Yep, and another over 300. Wow, that's, I don't think I've hit one under 300 there, which is very different for me. So, Ping G410 LST Driver, low spin technology. Liking the look, liking the sound. I play G400, so it's very similar in that looks. But let's go look at those numbers in a little bit more detail and see how that is performing. Okay, so looking at some numbers, G410 LST. So we can see average ball speed there at 161.2. That's good for me. That's a pretty good sort of ball speed number. Launching at 11.6, which is good. Again, I sometimes tend to get my launch a little bit on that low side, but I did strike those a little bit more middle to high. Didn't really get me low one in there that I tend to sort of get, so that obviously does affect that launch angle. They're playing that at 9 degree, but you can see the spin number averaging at 1899, which is pretty low, but you can see the first one, which I turned over, it's probably the worst shot I hit maybe out that batch. I turned it over left, so we're not pulled spin down, so you see that 1300 spin, that is very low. And then you can see another one there, I hit that high sort of toe one. I expect to go a little bit more, you see 1200 spin, so they're dropping out of the sky, so that's more of a complete misstrike with me. It wasn't massively offline, so I can deal with that. You know, they're going 305, 302, and 22, 26 yards left, so yeah, maybe getting into that rough up that left edge of the fairway, depending on obviously the width of the fairway there. So they're not massively destructive, but again, that's just more me and the way I've missed the strike there. I've been really high in the club face and obviously overdrawn it, slightly shut in the face. He's always going to pull that spin off. But the other ones there, you see 2000, 2000, 22, just under 22 there, 21. Really good, consistent low numbers. I always tend to chuck a 2.6, a 2.8, even sometimes a 3000 in the mix there, and I haven't done that with that, which I really, really like. Okay, so we can see peak height there at 29 yards, carry 280 and a total of 307 yards. You can see there's not one single shot was under 300, which again is pretty rare for me. I tend to always get something around that sort of early 290s, mid 290s. Drop offs into 280s when I get that bottom strike and the spin gets up. So some really, really good numbers. I'm very impressed with those numbers. Right, okay guys, so there we go, G410 LST. We've been waiting a long time for this. A lot of comments I've had on my YouTube channel in terms of when is it coming, when are you going to review it, and it's finally come. And I tell you what, that is a great performing driver. As I say, I've got G400 LST, I love it. That seems to me, off this particular test, to be outperforming it. I'm going to do a separate video. I'm going to put that up against my G400 LST and maybe see if this can outperform it, and back up really what Ping is saying. They've delayed this relaunch because they didn't feel this was outperforming G400. They've gone back to the drawing board, they've made some tweaks, they've done a bit more work on it. Now they're saying they're ready, it's performing better, it's ready to launch. And here it is. So this is available, I believe 30th of May 2019 here in the UK. I'm not sure about the rest of the world, but 30th of May in the UK. Comment down below, let me know your thoughts. G410 LST, is that something that's going to be on your radar? Do you need to get that spin number down? Lots of different shaft options available and lots with no upcharge that Ping are offering, which is fantastic. So good performing driver, some good value in there, and you know, let me know your comments down below if that's something you're going to go out there and try yourselves. Okay, if you enjoyed the video and you haven't subscribed, smash that subscribe button. I've got the Ping Blueprint iron review coming very shortly to my channel also. They look amazing, by the way, so do stay tuned for that. If you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, then when that video lands, you will not miss a single video out there. Okay, thanks so much for watching, guys. Appreciate it as always, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.